Biden family is being hit with bad press every single day about how bad the president's condition was. You know, there's some new reporting that he was going to be in a wheelchair because his spinal degeneration was so bad and they didn't want the American people to hear it or see it. So I was surprised last week that I was invited to the Biden School at the University of Delaware with a big critic of the former presidents, Dave Rubin, and we were just given mics and allowed to say whatever we want. It was no holds bar, all in the name of free speech. Take a listen here.
You could see the media now running cover for so many things that it was complicit in. That's part of what the swamp is. I mean, one of them, I suppose it's slightly uncomfortable to talk about here, but if you were to look at the media's coverage, or I would say lack thereof, of the former president's mental state for at least 4 years while he was president, and really before that, they ran cover for it and pretended it wasn't happening. And again, that drove all of these people who were awake, who could see what was going on, that drove them to shows like mine where we were showing these clips. So, you know, CNN would say they're showing cheap fakes or deep fakes of the president, you know, and then we'd show the entire thing, and then people would share that, and then that disconnect would get wider and wider. And I think now you see somebody like Jake Tapper, who is completely part of, and Jen Psaki just in the last 2 or 3 days said she never saw the president have any sort of mental problem until the night of the debate. And it's like, that simply cannot be true. And now Jake's writing a book about it, and she's got a show on MSNBC. And that's kind of how the swamp recalibrates in a
I mean,
sense.
they know they have to do some sort of atonement. And I think it's not so much this whole idea of like the former president's mental state. It was more about the age thing. No one was allowed to talk about how old the former president was. And it was just like that. And it was uncomfortable. It was impolite. It was not polite society, and that trickled down from the top, the top editors, because editors in chief and the bureau chiefs down. And if you brought it up, it was like, you're right. You were like a right-wing dweller. You were a troll, and it really should have been a question that came up frequently, especially when you could listen. You're never going to know from the doctor's reports exactly what type of condition a person truly is in. But when a person is 80 years old, and this is not to be an ageist either, you have the right to ask questions about them. In the same way, like President Trump is getting older, and as he gets older, I hope that they do the same thing to him too. But yeah, it was impolite, and if you asked about it, and also the White House was extremely aggressive if you went there. They would punish you. They would they had